Have you ever met someone who seems almost immune to problems? Deadlines shift, plans collapse, a family conflict suddenly explodes, and they just breathe, think, and handle it. No drama, no panic. They do not avoid problems, they dissolve them. Meanwhile, when something similar hits you, your brain feels like it is on fire. Stress, confusion, overthinking. You either freeze, complain, or take random actions that do not really move anything forward. This is not about who's smarter or who has an easier life. The real gap is your problem-solving ability. In this video, I want you to understand one thing very clearly. Your true competitiveness in life does not come from how many certificates you have or how impressive your job title sounds. It comes from how effectively you can face a problem, break it down, and turn chaos into order. And this is not a mysterious talent you're born with. It's a skill set, a system, something you can build layer by layer. So I suggest you like this video, save it, and come back to it when you feel stuck. If you really apply what I am about to share, it will quietly change the way you move through life. All right, let us get started. Real problem-solving ability is not just being clever or coming up with ideas quickly. In reality, it's a complete closed loop with several tightly connected stages that work together like gears in a machine. Calm thinking, finding the real essence of the problem, execution that turns ideas into action, and finally, review and iteration. When this loop is complete, something powerful happens. You no longer feel like you are trapped inside the problem. Instead, it feels as if you're looking at it from above, with a kind of God's eye view. You see what's important, what is noise, and what to do next. So let us walk through each stage in a simple and practical way. Stage 1, calm thinking, the first domino. When a problem appears suddenly, your first reaction is like the first domino in a long chain. If the first piece falls in the wrong direction, everything after that collapses in a mess. Think about what usually happens. You receive a bad email, someone criticizes you, a plan fails, and immediately your heart rate jumps. Thoughts like, "I'm ruined," or "Why is this happening to me?" crowd your mind. Psychology calls this an amygdala hijack. The amygdala is the part of your brain that manages fear and emotional reactions. Under stress, it fires first, and your logical thinking, handled by the prefrontal cortex, gets pushed backstage. That's why you say things you regret and act impulsively. Your brain, for a short moment, is driven by emotion. So the very first skill of a strong problem solver is not thinking fast. It's not reacting blindly. Two simple techniques can help you cultivate this calm. The first technique is the 10-second pause. This is more than just waiting. It uses the time difference between emotional reaction and rational thinking. When something triggers you, close your mouth and do not speak yet. Take a slow, deep breath in and then breathe out for about 10 seconds. While breathing, silently repeat to yourself, pause, observe, decide later. You're not ignoring the problem, you're creating a small space where logic can re-enter. Research on breathing and stress regulation suggests that even a few seconds of slow breathing can reduce emotional intensity and allow the prefrontal cortex to work more effectively. Those 10 seconds can save you from sending a destructive message, quitting too quickly, or making a decision purely out of fear. The second technique is role detachment. Imagine that you step out of your own body and become an outsider watching the scene. You can picture it like an anime scene. The you inside the frame is upset, stressed, overwhelmed, while the you outside the frame is calm, standing behind the camera, observing. Ask yourself as this outsider, if this was happening to a friend, how would I describe the situation? What looks like the real problem here? Is this a crisis or is it just uncomfortable? This mental shift raises you to a higher platform of rationality. You stop drowning in the story and start seeing the structure of the situation. Emotion does not disappear, but it stops driving the car. Logic sits in the front seat again. Once your mind is calm, you're finally ready for the second stage. Stage 2. Find the essence, not just the surface. Most people solve the wrong problem, and that's why they stay stuck. What you see at first is usually just the symptom, while the real cause is hidden deeper, like the part of the iceberg below the water. Imagine a child whose grades suddenly drop. On the surface, the parent might think, "My kid is lazy," or "They're playing too many games." The typical reaction is scolding, pressure, maybe extra classes. But if you look deeper, the true causes might be very different. Wrong study methods, stress from bullying or social pressure, lack of sleep or health problems, hidden fear of failure. If you attack only the surface, you may make things worse. So how do you find the real root? One of the simplest and most powerful tools is the 5 whys method. You start with the problem you see, ask, "Why did this happen?" Take the answer and ask why again, and repeat this around 5 times until you reach a cause that is fundamental and actionable. A famous example comes from the Jefferson Memorial in the United States, where the east wall was suffering from unusual erosion. The stone was decaying faster than expected, so investigators started asking why. Why is the wall eroding? Because strong cleaning chemicals are used frequently. Why are such strong chemicals needed? Because there are lots of bird droppings on the monument. Why are there so many birds? Because they come to eat spiders. Why are there so many spiders? Because there are many insects. Why are there so many insects? Because the bright lights at night attract them. Once they reached this level, the solution became surprisingly simple. Adjust or reduce the lighting at certain times, for example by closing curtains or changing the lighting schedule. Less light means less insects, which means less spiders, which means less birds, which means less droppings, less erosion, and less harsh cleaning. This is what it means to attack the essence instead of fighting symptoms. The same method applies in your daily life. Your problem might sound like, "I never have time," or "My business is not growing," or "My relationships always end badly." Take one of these and start asking why repeatedly. You will often discover a completely different root cause compared to what you assumed at first. Once you know the essence, you are ready for the next stage. Stage 3, execution, turning clarity into results. A brilliant solution that stays in your notebook is not a solution, it is just a nice thought. Strong problem solvers are not only good thinkers, they are also disciplined doers, and they know how to move ideas into action. You can think of execution in 3 dimensions. The first is efficient implementation. Instead of trying to fix the entire project as one huge, vague goal, you break it down into small, concrete tasks. You clarify the goal and success criteria, list the steps you need, decide who does what, set realistic deadlines, and identify the resources you need. If you work alone, you assign these tasks to yourself with clear time blocks. If you work in a team, you assign responsibilities so nothing is floating in the air. This prevents bottlenecks and mysterious delays that happen simply because no one knew they were responsible. The second dimension is determined advancement. Even with a good plan, you will face resistance. A colleague suddenly refuses to cooperate. A resource you counted on disappears, or a new problem appears inside the old one. At this point, many people fall back into complaining or blaming. Strong problem solvers do something different. They ask, "What is still within my control right now?" And "What is the next small step I can take with what I have?" Then they take that step. Determined advancement does not mean you never feel tired or frustrated. It means you do not let those feelings decide your actions. You keep moving, even if slowly, in the direction of the solution. The third dimension is flexible adjustment. Reality will rarely match your original plan perfectly, and that is normal. As you execute, you monitor your progress, compare what is happening with what you expected, ask whether something in the environment has changed, and then adjust your actions instead of stubbornly forcing the old plan. Flexibility is not weakness, it is intelligence. You are not changing your destination, you are adjusting your path because you learned something new from reality. This combination of clear tasks, determination, and flexibility is what turns a good idea into a solved problem.
Stage 4. Review and iteration. The secret of long-term growth. Most people stop after a problem is kind of solved. Strong problem solvers do something extra. They review, then they iterate. Reflection is not just remembering what happened. It is a structured process. Each time you face a significant problem, you can follow 4 steps. First, compare objectives with outcomes. What did you want to achieve and what actually happened? Second, identify what went well. Which decisions helped you? Which habits or attitudes supported you? Third, identify what went badly. Where you underestimated difficulty, where emotion or ego interfered. And fourth, design improvements. If you had to start over right now, what would you do differently? And which lessons can you apply to other areas of life? The most important rule in this stage is to be honest and stay away from blame games. Do not say, I succeeded only because I'm great, and then I failed because other people were stupid. That kind of thinking kills growth. Instead, stay factual, almost like a scientist. This action led to this result. This assumption was wrong. This habit is helpful and I should keep it. This habit is harmful and I should replace it. Every time you complete this loop, your problem-solving ability levels up a little. The next time a similar issue appears, you will move faster, make fewer mistakes, and feel less stress. Problems will not disappear from your life. That is not the promise. The real promise is this: as you train your ability to stay calm, find the essence, execute effectively, and review honestly, your relationship with problems will completely change. You will stop seeing them as signs that your life is broken and start seeing them as training sessions that sharpen your mind and character. So next time something difficult appears, remember to pause for 10 seconds and breathe. Step outside yourself and observe. Use the 5 whys to find the root. Turn clarity into action with efficient, determined, flexible execution. Then review, learn, and upgrade your system. There are no unsolvable problems, only solutions you haven't discovered yet. If this video helped you see problems in a new light, do 3 things for your future self. Like this video, save it so you can re-watch it when life gets tough, and share it with someone who is currently struggling. May this mindset guide you forward, one problem at a time.